Hello everyone, Kit here, back with another video. Today for you guys I'm going to be reading the Seek but you may not find non-UCC recorded, unrecorded, and hidden security interests under Article 9 of the Uniform Commercial Code. I'll leave a link to this down in the description box below, along with our email. You can email us at themuzzyjimbo.com for a private consultation. Without further ado, let me get right into it. 1. Non-UCC recorded security interest. As previously defined, non-UCC recorded security interests are those that are recorded somewhere other than in the Article 9 filing system. National or international registration pursuant to federal law. Section 9302, Section 3.a of the Code does not require an Article 9 filing when a statute of the United States provides for a national or international registration with respect to property. According to Section 9, compliance with such a statute is equivalent to the filing of a financing statement under Article 9 and a security interest in property subject to the statute. Can be perfected only by compliance therewith. To illustrate how subsections 9/302 operate, consider Section 1403-A of Title 49 of the United States Code. This statute provides that the Secretary of Transportation shall establish and maintain a system for the recording of any conveyance which affects the Title II or any interest in any civil aircraft of the United States, any lease or other instrument executed for security purposes, which affects the Title II or any interest in specifically designed aircraft parts. All such conveyances, leases, and encumbrances must be recorded with the Federal Aviation Administration Aircraft Registry Registry Office in Oklahoma City. Example 1. On June 1st, a Lens B $100,000 secured by an interest in B Lear's jet. On June 3rd, records his security interests in the Lear jet in the aircraft registry in Oklahoma City. If on June 10th, C, a subsequent secured creditor of B, searches the Article 9's filings, he will not discover any record of A's prior security interest in the Lear jet. Nonetheless, A's securities interest in the Lear jet, properly recorded in the Federal Registry, will take priority over C's security interest. Federal law also provides for the recordation of security interest in copyrights. Section 205A of Title 17 of the United States Code states that any transfer of copyright ownership or other document pertaining to a copyright may be recorded in the Copyright Office in Washington, D.C. In most instances, the recordation of the document in the Register of Copyrights gives all persons constructive notice of the facts stated in the recorded document. Example 2. On June 1st, A lends B $100,000 secured by B's copyright and a best-selling novel previously registered. On June 3rd, records his interest in the copyright with the Register of Copyrights in Washington, D.C. If on June 10th, C, a subsequent secured creditor of B, searches presumably and find no such record, nonetheless, A's security interest in the copyright properly recorded in the Register of Copyrights will take priority over C's security interest. B. State certificates of title and central filling estates. The Code also provides that Article 9 filing is not required to perfect a security interest in property. State certificate of mobile goods. When these statutes control, security interests are to be recorded on the certificate of title of the respective car or boat, not in the Article 9 filing system. Example 3. June 1st, A lends B $3,000 secured by an interest in B's automobile. The applicable law of the state requires that any security interest in the car be recorded on the car's certificate of title. On June 5th, possession of that certificate of title. If on June 10th, C, a subsequent creditor creditor of B searches the Article 9's filings, he will find no record of A's prior security interest in the car. Nonetheless, A's security interest in the car properly recorded on the certificate of title will take priority over C's security interest. Generally speaking, the presence of non-UCC recorded security interest should not pose serious difficulties for a sophisticated lender. First of all, with respect to certain types of collateral, even when Article 9 requires a federal filing, a secured creditor may still make an additional filing in the Article 9 system. Thus, a second creditor may occasionally discover the existence of a federally filed security interest through a search of the Article 9 filing system. Second, even when this does not happen, a lender should quickly discover any applicable non-Article 9 recording system by analyzing the type of collateral involved in the transaction and the ramifications of Section 9/302. Once he realizes that federal law requires a national filing, examples 1 and 2, the lender will be able to search in the correct filing system and discover any prior security interest. Similarly, once the lender is aware that a state of certificate requires a national filing, examples 1 and 2, the lender will be able to search in the correct filing system and discover any prior security interest. Similarly, once the lender is aware that a state certificate of title statute requires that security interest be recorded on the certificate of the title of the car or boat, example 3, then the lack of an Article 9 filing will not mislead him. Unrecorded security interest. The Code also permits valid security interests to be perfected, even though they are not recorded in any filing or certificate of title system, state or federal. These unrecorded security interests can be better studied if they are subdivided into two categories. What might be termed permanently unrecorded and temporarily unrecorded security interests. A. Permanently unrecorded security interests. Permanently unrecorded security interests are of two types. One, possessory security interests, and two, automatically perfected security interests. 1. Possessory security interests. By far the most common of these permanently unrecorded security interests are possessory security interests. Possessory security interests can arise under Articles 8 or 9 of the Code, under the common law, or under the non-code statutory law. Article 9. Possessory security interests. The Code states that a financing statement must be filed to perfect all security interests except a security interest in collateral in possession of the secured party. Example 4. On June 1st, A lends B $100,000 secured by a valuable Renoir painting owned by B. Pursuant to a written security agreement, B gives A possession of the Renoir painting as collateral for the loan. If subsequent secured creditor C searches the Article 9's filing to see whether there are any prior security interests in the Renoir painting, he will discover no record of A's prior perfected security interest. Nonetheless, C takes subject to A's prior possessory security interest in the Renoir. Although in most instances, the secured party himself will keep possession of the collateral. Article 9 also permits an agent of the secured party to keep possession. When the collateral is goods kept in a warehouse, possession may be by the Bailey warehouseman. For example, Section 9/304 of the Code provides that a security interest in goods held by a Bailey, other than the one as issued a negotiable warehouse receipt or other negotiable document covering the goods, can be perfected by the Bailey's receipt of notification of the secured party's interest. Article 8. Possessory security interest. With respect to both creating and perfecting security interests in certificated securities, Article 9 refers to Article 8. Section 8/321 states that a security interest in a security is enforceable and can attach only if it is transferred to the secured party or person designated by him pursuant to a provision of Section 8/313. Section 8/321 then adds that a security interest so transferred pursuant to an agreement by a transferor who has rights in the security to transferee who has given value is a perfected security interest. Thus, the key to creating a perfected security interest in certificated securities lies in the transfer provisions of Section 8/313. Under this section, a transfer of security interest occurs inter alia at the time the secured party acquires possession of certificated security. Example 5. On June 1st, A lends B $100,000 secured by certificated securities owned by B. Pursuant to a written agreement, B gives A possession of the securities as collateral for the loan. If subsequent secured creditor C searches the Article 9's filings to discover any prior security interest in B's securities, he will not discover any record of A's interest. Nonetheless, A's possessory security interest in the certified securities takes priority over C's. Possessory security interest in certain types of collateral may be recognized under state, common, or statutory law. For example, Article 9 excludes from the scope of the transfer of an interest of an insurance policy, such as a life insurance policy. Under state law, a security interest of a life insurance policy can usually be enforced against third parties if the secured party takes physical possession of the policy. A search of the Article 9's filings will obviously not uncover any record of possessory security interest in a life insurance policy. Nonetheless, such a security interest is valid under state law and will take priority over subsequent lenders. Possessory security interests that arise under Article 9, Example 5, 4, Article 8, Example 5, or state, common, or statutory law should not present serious problems for the commercial lender. Possession by a third party has traditionally constituted a form of notice in lieu of filing. Possession of collateral by someone other than the debtor should alert a lender to the possibility that the party in possession may claim an interest in the collateral. Indeed, the pledge is the oldest form of enforceable security interest in personal property. Thus, a potential creditor should always inquire why collateral is in the possession of a third party, and should ask for representations from the debtor and the third party that the third party has no claim or security interest in that collateral. Automatically perfected security interests. Automatically preferred security interests are security interests that are perfected from the time of attachment without either filing or possession. Two of these automatically perfected security interests will be analyzed here. Example 6. On June 1st, A sells B a jade necklace for B's personal use, and A retains a security interest in the necklace to secure the unpaid portion of the purchase price. In most states, A's purchase money security interest will be perfected without filing or possession. If on June 5th, subsequent secured lender C searches the Article 9's filings, he will discover no record of A's prior security interest. Despite the unrecorded nature of A's security interest, C takes subject to A's automatically perfected purchase money security interest in the jade necklace. The drafters of Article 9 believe that the pre-code exemption of consumer credit transactions from filing requirements should be continued. As Professors White and Summers put it, without the consumer purchase money exemption, courthouses throughout the country will be bulging at the seams. the drafter's decision to permit the automatic perfection of purchase money security interest in most types of consumer goods will not cause problems for all lenders. Several states either have not adopted or have limited the Section 9/302 Consumer Goods Automatic Perfection Rule. But where the automatic perfection rule does apply, it can cause serious problems for subsequent lenders. It is important to remember that the code defines consumer goods in relation to how those goods are used by the debtor, not in relation to their intrinsic value, depending on how the debtor uses it. A Renoir painting or jade necklace could constitute either consumer goods, equipment, or inventory. Thus, if a commercial lender collateralized his loan with such valuable consumer goods, knowledge of prior unrecorded purchase money security interest would be important. Although he may try to discover the existence of a prior purchase money security interest, a commercial lender will be hard pressed to devise a foolproof method of discovery. For example, a lender may demand that the debtor produce a bill of sale showing where the debtor purchased the collateral. If the debtor acts honestly and produces a real bill of sale, the lender will then be able to ask the named seller whether he has retained any security interest in the collateral. But what if the debtor produces a forged bill of sale listing a confederate as the seller? The confederate will simply lie and say that he retained no security interest in the collateral. But a real seller may exist who has retained a purchase money security interest in the collateral. This undiscovered security interest will, of course, take priority over the security interest of the subsequent creditor. The Federal Trade Commission recently made it unfair credit practice for a lender in connection with the extension of credit to consumers to make a non-possessory, non-purchase money security interest in household goods. The definition of household goods, however, excludes such items as antiques, jewelry, and works of art. Thus, in examples 6, I think, C's non-possessory, non-purchase money security interest in the jade necklace will not constitute as an unfair credit practice. Section 9/302 contains yet another automatic perfection rule, although one of the less significance than the automatic perfection rule governing purchase money security interest in the consumer goods. If there is an assignment of an insignificant amount of assignment's outstanding accounts, the assignee secured party need not file a financing statement to effect his security of an insignificant amount of an assignment's outstanding accounts. The assignee secured party need not file a financing statement to perfect his security interest in the assigned accounts. Example, wow, this is getting long, so I'm just gonna name the actual numbers themselves. Example VII. On June 1st, A lends B $10,000 secured by $10,000 worth of B's outstanding accounts receivable. Assuming that the $10,000 worth of accounts constitutes an insignificant amount of B's outstanding accounts, a need not file to perfect his security interest in the accounts. If on June 5th, subsequent secured creditor C searches the Article 9's filings, again he would discover no record of A's prior security interest. Nonetheless, he has first priority in these accounts. Like the automatic perfection rule for purchase money security interests in consumer goods discussed above, this automatic perfection rule for accounts will affect few commercial lenders. The reason is simple. Section 9/302 dispenses with filing only when there has been a transfer of an insignificant part of a debtor's outstanding accounts. As the relevant case law shows, an insignificant part of the debtor's outstanding accounts is a slippery concept and no too uncertain to be relied on by prudent lenders. Thus, prudent lenders against accounts will routinely file a financing statement no matter how insignificant the value of their account's collateral. Thus, the Section 9/302 automatic perfection rule will be encountered rarely, presumably only in situations in which a prior lender has failed to file and is trying to bootstrap himself into perfection. Temporarily unrecorded security interests are those that permit a grace period for filing. Generally speaking, a grace period gives an existing secured creditor time to learn of a change in the debtor's circumstances that may require the secured creditor to make a new filing. Although they protect existing secured creditors, grace periods harm subsequent creditors by creating enforceable but temporarily unrecorded security interest. For example, if a security interest is considered affected from the time of attachment, provided there is a filing within 10 days of attachment, then a temporarily unrecorded security interest will exist for all or part of this 10-day period. Someone who searches the filings during this period will not discover a record of the prior security interests. In several instances, the Code sanctions grace periods for filing financing statements. For ease of analysis, these will be divided into 10-day, 21-day, and 4-month grace periods. 10-day grace periods. Section 9/306 states that a perfected security interest in original collateral remains a continuously perfected security interest and proceeds of that original collateral for at least 10 days. Beyond this 10-day period, however, there may or may not have to be an additional filing to continue perfection in the proceeds. In situations in which the secured party will have to file to continue his perfection in the proceeds, the 10-day grace period for filing might create problems for subsequent lenders. Consider the following two situations. Example VIII. On June 1st, A sells B Red Rock Painting and A retains a purchase money security interest in the painting to secure its price. Assuming B hangs the $1 in his home, A would have an automatically perfected purchase money security interest in the painting because the painting would constitute consumer goods under the code. On September 1st, B sells the $1 to an open credit to Z without A's authorization, thereby creating proceeds collateral in the form of an account. A's perfected security interest in the $1 automatically continues as a perfected security interest in the account for 10 days after B's receipt of the proceeds. Here the account receivable. If on September 3, B borrows money from C and gives C a security interest in the account interest in the account owed him by Z, a search of the files by C would probably not discover any record of A's prior perfected security interest in the account. Yet if A files a financing statement on September 8th, he will take priority over C as to the account. Example IX. Assuming that the relevant state law requires a central filing for equipment and local filing for consumer goods, on June 1st, A files in the state capital and perfects his security interest in B's type W computer, which B uses as equipment in his business. On June 4th, B challenges the Type W computer for a Super X computer, which B now decides to use in his home as a consumer good. A's security interest continues perfected in the Super X model, proceeds collateral for 10 days after B receives the computer. If on June 8th, C searches for the files locally to see if there's any filing covering any of B's consumer goods, he would find no record of any filing. Yet if A files locally with respect to the Super X computer on June 10th, a security interest in the Super X computer proceeds collateral, would take any priority over C's security interest in the Super X computer. The temporarily unrecorded security interest permitted by the Section 9/306 rules regarding proceeds are not frequently encountered, but when they do create concern, the Code provides a way to protect against them. Article 9 permits a secured party to pre-file a financing statement before his security interest attaches. By pre-filing and then waiting to make the loan, any temporarily unrecorded security interest in proceeds will either have to be recorded or the grace period will lapse. If no prior security interest in proceeds is perfected within the 10-day period, the creditor has not hurt himself by delaying the loan. Under the code, priority dates from the time of pre-filing, not from the time the loan is made or the security interest attaches. If, however, a prior security interest in proceeds is perfected within the 10-day period, the creditor will usually be able to cancel the loan without incurring any liability towards the borrower. Typically, the borrower will have made a previous representation that no prior security interest exists. If one does exist, the borrower will have made a material misrepresentation, and principles of estoppel should preclude the borrower from objecting to the loan cancellation. Another 10-day grace period provision, Section 9/312, provides that a purchase money security interest in collateral other than inventory has priority over conflicting security interest in the same collateral. If the purchase money security interest is perfected at the time of the debtor receives possession of the collateral or within 10 days thereafter, although it is typically treated as a rule that gives a second in time purchase money creditor greater rights than a first in time non-purchase money creditor, Section 9/312, can also work to create a temporarily unrecorded security interest between a first in time purchase money creditor and a second in time non-purchase money creditor. Example X. On June 1st, A finances the purchase of equipment by B. B receives the equipment on June 2nd. On June 5th, B borrows money from C, giving C a non-purchase money security interest in the equipment. If on June 5th, C searches the Article 9's filings, he will not discover any record of A's purchase money security interest in the equipment. A files a financing statement on June 9th. According to the language of Section 9/312, A would have priority over C with respect to the equipment. Like the unrecorded security interest discussed above in examples V, III, and IX, this 10-day temporarily unrecorded purchase money security interest will not pose a serious problem for the typical commercial lender. For a lender to be prejudiced by Section 9/312, a prior creditor must first achieve purchase money status. This is sometimes easier said than done. Even if the prior creditor does achieve purchase money status, a subsequent lender can protect himself from harm by adopting the same pre-filing strategy outlined above. Thus, if a lender pre-files and then delays making the loan for more than 10 days, either the 10-day grace period will lapse or the prior temporarily unrecorded security interest will appear in the filing system. If a prior security interest does appear, the loan can be safely cancelled, assuming, of course, that the debtor has made a previous representation that no such prior security interest existed. Before concluding this discussion of Section 9/312, purchase money security interest, one further point should be emphasized. According to the language of the section, the 10-day grace period begins to run at the time the debtor receives possession of the collateral. According to some cases, this language must be read literally. The 10-day period runs from the time he takes possession of the collateral as debtor, not from the time he takes possession of the collateral in some other capacity. This reading can create a particularly dangerous form of temporarily unrecorded security interest. Example XI. On June 1st, A, the seller, and B, the buyer, enter into negotiations for the sale of a certain equipment. On June 10th, however, before the parties conclude on all the terms of the sale, A permits B to take possession of the equipment. On July 1st, B approaches C and asks for a loan, offering the equipment still owned by A as collateral. Because B ostensibly owns the equipment, C agrees to the loan and searches the Article 9's filings to discover any record of a prior security interest in the equipment. Alright, I'm going to end it off here, guys. I'll make a part 2 to this because this one's already quite long, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a nice day.